Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to season 2, episode 23 of Sping to You with Stacy T. Y'all, I made a decision because I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do with, how I'm gonna split it up, but I'm gonna go to 25 and then we're gonna start with the season 3. But we're almost concluding our season 2. So glad that you're here with me. Today, we're gonna talk about something that I have been speaking about a lot in a variety of part. But we're going to talk about it because I think it's important. And I did discuss this on another social media platform, and I know that it was not just for the people there. So I'm hoping that some of the people that were not on that platform are going to be able to hear this because it is absolutely what God is saying to me. And when He's saying something to me, I don't think it's just for me. I think it's for other people as well. So we're going to talk about trust. I'm going to talk about it in a very specific way. Before we get started, it is sipping tea with Stacy T, and you can't have that without the what? The tea. And because we're talking about trust today, we're going to use a tried and true trusted tea. One of my favorites, if not my favorite. We're going to go with our Revolution Spanish White Peach Ginger Tea. Have not had this in a while, and y'all, I love this tea so much. I don't know what they did when they made this. Oh, sorry. See, I'm already so excited. I'm opening up the bag. I mean, the tea bag and all the things. So this is what it is: Revolution Spanish White Peach and Ginger Tea. They did an amazing job on this. Oh, every time I smell smell the tea bag, and I know for y'all, some of y'all are like, "Why is she sniffing the tea bag?" It just smells good. It smells good. So let me put that in the water, the hot water. Let it steep for a bit. Um, so hopefully everybody's doing well. We're already basically in the middle of June. This year, 2026, and again, I say this a lot, but I do feel like the older you get, the time is starting to like be on fast forward or something. And as a kid, you're like, oh, I can't wait to be, I can't wait till I'm 21 or 18. I can't wait till I'm 21 and then 25 and then 30. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. Why are we speeding up so much? Hey, how you doing? Why are we speeding up so much? Like there's no need. But the reality of it is time waits for no one and it continues to march on. So we're in the middle of June, which also makes me pause to just have us think about this. We're in the 6th month of the year. So that means we're halfway done with the year. Right? We're in the halfway marker of the year. When you started your 2026, I'm sure many of you had things that you said that you were going to do, things that you said you wanted to accomplish, things that you wanted God to do in your life, things that you thought about. Some of you might have had what do you call those things? New Year's resolutions. You may have thought of things in that capacity. I'm going to do this for myself this year. I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to treat myself. Whatever it is that you said to yourself. How you doing with that? How you doing with that? And this is not a judgment. This is a check-in because I think that sometimes we make a plan at the beginning of the year with all of the thoughts about, executing the plan. But then life happens in a variety of different ways. And we're like, okay, it's not that we forgot about the plan, but we may need to pivot. There may be a need to pivot a little bit. Excuse me. And so when we know we need to have to pivot a little bit, I think the biggest thing is to give ourselves a bit of grace as we navigate the challenge of rethinking, restructuring, maybe sometimes throwing out that old plan. Maybe the old plan was contingent or connected to something else, right? And, maybe it was connected to a friendship that you no longer have. Maybe it was connected to a job that you're no longer working or, a business plan that you were thinking about. And then as you really start to see some things, you're like, maybe this is not the best plan. So sometimes we have to pivot. And, I'm telling you, some of us know how to pivot really well, ballerina pirouette style, right? We're like, oh, that didn't work. We gotta mix it up. So that happens. And I think we need to give ourselves a little bit of grace as we navigate the changes that happen as they happen. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to say I'm there yet, but I'm trying to do that. And I think that that's the key, trying to give ourselves grace, trying to give ourselves some understanding, but also holding ourselves accountable in areas, right? If you said that you were going to try to do things for yourself, then try to do things for yourself. It may not be the same things that you planned initially. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then you're like, okay, can't do this. That ain't going to work. Want to do this, but that's not practical right now. So maybe I do just this thing. Maybe what it was is you plan on doing things that are extravagant, and right now that's not a possibility. Read a book. Maybe that's something that you want to do. Read a chapter of a book. Go to a movie. Go and sit and watch, the water go by. Go watch the ducks if that's the thing that you like. Sit outside. If you're like me, you don't necessarily love that because there's bugs out there, right? But again, the reality of it is try to do something for yourself if that's what you committed to doing this year. All right. So that was just my free spiel, my free kind of thing to start this off. But today, what are we talking about? This is an important topic to me because I feel like in my diamond season, which I've told you all that I'm in, it's really a challenging season for a multitude of reasons. However, the biggest thing that I have noted that I've had to pay attention to is my ability to trust God in this season. And so this particular episode is called Trust Fall. Now, I don't know about y'all, but a lot of times when you're in a season or you're in a situation and things are not panning out, you try to then pivot, right? I just talked about that. We're like, okay, plan A, that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. So let's go to plan B. And then by the time you turn around, you might be on plan elemental P, right? You tried all the things. You're like, okay, that's not working. Let me try this. Nope. That does not work because it's very similar to plan B. That doesn't work. Let's go to plan, J. So by the time you might be done, you might be on P and you've tried all the things and you're just kind of like, okay. Back in the day, we had a song, if you tried it, everything has failed, try Jesus. And I have to think about that song because I'm like, wait a minute. That when did you include Jesus in the planning? Because it's literally saying if you tried everything else and everything else has failed, then you might as well try Jesus. And I know he probably is like, wait a minute. How about you include me a little bit earlier on in your planning and maybe all these things would have failed? But that's a side note. We sing a lot of stuff that when you get older and look at it, you're like, wait a minute. Why am I doing all this stuff? And now I'm trying Jesus. But in any event, when you're going through a whole bunch of different types of things, or maybe you're going through one thing that is really, hey, how you doing, girl? When you're going through a whole bunch of different things and now, you're recognizing all the things that you've tried to do, all the ways that you've tried to shift, all the ways that you've tried to reconfigure a thing. Sometimes it just does not work. The square peg does not fit into a round hole unless the square peg is real, real tiny, right? But of the same size, they're not going to fit. So it's really important to then look at certain situations from a different landscape or a different lens. And what I'm going to tell you is what God was talking to me about is trust, and trust in a different way. So if you've been in a team building type of a situation, right? Lots of companies do a variety of team buildings. Some of them call them icebreakers and like, hey, let's try this. And they'll put a name on your back, and then you have to try to figure out what your name is by asking a whole bunch of people questions. You can only ask each person one question and da 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 da. Is it a man or a woman? Are they famous or not? Are they alive or dead? Like you try to ask questions to figure out the name that is on your back. But what if there's a weight on your back and that's what you have to try to figure out? So hold on to that, right? You're trying to figure out how to get that sucker off of you. But let's hold on to that. So in the grand scheme of team building exercises, sometimes they do this thing and it is called a trust fall. So I'm going to tell y'all right now, I was never doing a trust fall. Never. Now, if you caught me like maybe when I was in like the 5th grade, potentially you might have been able to get me then. But as a grown adult, there was going to be zero way that I did a trust fall. So a trust fall, the idea of it, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is typically, you go inside a circle. Each person on the team goes inside the circle and your team surrounds you. Now, in a good trust fall situation, what's supposed to happen is the people that are on the outside perimeter are then telling you things that are affirming you. They're saying, wow, Stacy's really a great writer. I love how she's able to bring, words off of the paper or off the screen. Stacy's a good trainer. I've been able to learn things from her about the style of training that I would like to do, and so on and so forth. So around the circle, there's supposed to be these affirming things. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, it can get tricky when somebody don't like you in the circle, right? If somebody's on your team that maybe doesn't mess with you like that. But what I will tell you is, in that situation, because they kind of feel under pressure, they're going to try to figure out something to say positively about you in that moment, right? So in any event, everybody goes around the circle, they say these things, and you're turning because you're supposed to be looking at the person as they're saying, as they're saying this thing about you. And it's not supposed to be like a long drawn out thing, but it's as long as it takes for the person on the outside to express how they feel about the person on the inside. The general idea is letting each team member feel supported by their team, right? Then what's supposed to happen is, because you have been hearing all of these wonderful things, because these people have told you how they felt about you, you're then supposed to stand in the circle. The circle kind of shrinks in around you, and you're supposed to do a trust fall, which means putting your arms across your chest, closing your eyes, and falling into the arms of your teammates. Do you now see why your girl ain't doing that? I'm not doing that. First of all, I'm plus size. I'm gonna have some weak. I'm gonna literally be assessing, looking around the team to be like, who is strong enough to catch my tail before I end up injuring myself, right? I don't want the weak one who's gonna be like, ooh, Stacy, I'm so sorry, girl. I meant to catch you. I don't know why I let you hit the concrete. I didn't mean to do that, girl. I'm so sorry. I definitely don't want to fall into the arms of the person I know really don't like me, but felt pressure to say something positive. So now I'm in the inside. All these wonderful things have been said about me, but I'm assessing my environment, right? So I'm in my head, I'm like, no. Now I will tell you, I'll be on the outside circle. I'll catch you. Not a problem. I'll do that. I'll make sure I catch you before you. But you want me to no. I see Cheryl says a nope on that one too, right? So I've been in multiple situations where this has been a thing. And I've never volunteered to be in the middle of the circle. I've never, and they, Stacy, I'm like, I'll go in the circle. Y'all can say what you want to say about me, but I'm not doing this. So I'm not trying to mess up the flow for y'all, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to do it. And the reason is obviously because I'm assessing not wanting to be injured, right? I'm assessing whether or not these people are just people that always sit at a desk or have any upper body strength and any leg strength, because it's going to take both to keep me off the ground, right? And then on top of that, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the nature of relationship. Trust comes because you have a built relationship. I don't trust you just because you say nice things. I don't trust you because you're just in an environment that I'm familiar with. I don't trust you because you're standing around me and you're telling me you got me. At the end of the day, trust comes because relationship has been built. Now, most of the people, if we're honest, that we work with, we're cool with them. They're nice. We may even go out to dinner with them every once and again. But the fact of the matter is, do we trust them? Are they our friends? Have we worked on enough of a relationship that we feel like there needs to be history? Absolutely. Right. So now we're in a situation that, and I always hate when they do, I'm not going to lie. I hate when they do things like that, because then I'm always like, man, I know full well I ain't going to do this. So now I look like, and I'm hoping there's somebody else who's like, I'm not doing it either. But at the end of the day, I'm still not doing it. Even if everybody else does it, I'm not doing it. Right. I'm not going to feel peer pressured into doing it, because they're not going to feel peer pressured into a copay when I have to go and get checked out. Right. So the fact of the matter is, I know that I'm not doing it. When we are in relationship with someone, they have worked on making sure they understand us. They've worked to make sure that we feel safe with them, right? And for me, in order to trust you, you have to have done something to make me feel safe, whether it's safe with my emotions, safe with me being able to share my thoughts, safe with me in proximity to you. I know that you're not going to get violent physically, emotionally violent, whatever, right? I can trust myself within your proximity because you've proven to me who you are, right? If I don't have a relationship with people that I work with, they may be cool. Hey, you might be the funny one who always makes me laugh. But that doesn't mean you're not going to keep me from splitting my wig on the daggone concrete, right? That doesn't mean that. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put you in this category. I'm going to put you in you're real cool. You cool people. Hey, you always know the great places to eat. You're in that category. But the trust category, man, that's a whole nother situation. In this season, in this diamond season that I've been in, it's been a very, very interesting season because it's been eye-opening in a way that I've not experienced anything else. It's had me in such a space of awareness about who I am, about the direction that I'm going in. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I know the clarity with entire clarity. Oh, this is my purpose, and this is how it's going to be executed, and this is how things are going to be. I'd be lying if I told you that, because that's not the case. But what I can tell you with assuredness is how I feel is different. How I know God is working on me is absolutely different. And that is because of heat, pressure, but it's also because of relationship, right? How God speaks to me is so much different than how it was last year. How he speaks to me now is so much different than it was before my relationship blew up, right? What God is doing in this season has absolutely been because of the heat and pressure, but it's been because I trust that even though this situation and even though things don't make sense to me, even though things are confusing to me, even though I don't like the season that I'm in, I told God at the beginning of this year that I'm going to trust him. And so he's like, okay, cool, bet. Let's see if that's the case, Stacey. Let's see if that's really going to be the case. So let's put you through a couple of things. Let's make things get a little bit trickier. Let's let time go by a little bit more. And because time goes by, that's when people have a hard time wondering, okay, God, I'm trying to trust you for real, for real. I'm doing this thing and it feels different in my spirit. However, let us be honest with one another. It feels different, but it still feels scary as crud. I'm still sitting in a space where I'm trying to trust you. I'm trying to lean on you, but hello, 1, 2, 3, check one, check one. Is this thing on? Because you're talking to me about other people. You're talking to me about how to bless other folks. You're talking to me about this season and what it might mean for so-and-so. You're telling me to encourage this person over here. You're telling me to pray for this person. And y'all, I'm telling you, the things that have been happening have been amazing. You have me do a praise and prayer live and pray for somebody to get a job because this person said, I need a job and I really need for you to pray with me. And I believe that I can match or, connect my prayer to your prayer. And so I pray for this person, and this person sends me a message the next day saying they got an interview, and then sends me a message saying that they got a job and it was a 6-figure job. And I'm like, that is amazing. Praise God. God is awesome. And then I was like, hey, quick question. Can perhaps you pray for me? Because I've been looking for that same thing. So in the season where God is having you do things and you're seeing what God is doing, right? I'm seeing what God is doing for others. I'm seeing what he's been doing in me. But sometimes we sit in a season of looking at what the other person is being blessed with and seeing that and rejoicing with them, but saying, God, what's good? Do we have beef? We have a problem? Is it something that disconnected us that I don't know about? Because why am I praying and my prayers are getting through for this other person for a thing I done prayed about? But yet and still, I'm sitting in this season and you're still taking care of me. You're still fortifying my family. You're still blessing me, which means you're blessing others. And so I sit in a space of gratitude, but it doesn't mean that sometimes I don't have to check my attitude, because sometimes my attitude gets mad. Though you slay me, yet will I trust you. Woo-wee! That's the word, but don't say it until you're ready to say it. There's a season that you may have to endure, that you may have to the only thing you can do is sit and say, God, I trust you, because nothing around in this season, nothing in it, around it, above it, below it, or any other dimension that you can kind of think of makes sense. Nothing about it feels good. Nothing about it feels safe. Nothing about it can make sense and calculate in my brain. And guess what? That's when God is able to show up and do his big 1, 2, 1, 2. Because at the end of the day, y'all, what God wants is for us to trust him, but to trust him with no contingency plan, right? A lot of us will trust God, but we have a fallback plan. Okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I know you can do your thing. All right, so what I'm going to have to do is go into my 401k and then take out that thing. But God, I trust you. I trust you, God. I know you're doing the thing. I know that you're working all things out for my good. And I know you're doing this, that, and the other thing. God, I trust you. But okay, what I'm going to have to do in this situation is, I'm going to call this person because they owe me about $200. And I'm going to call that's literally what we end up doing. So God's like, do you trust me or not? I can get the $200 for you. If you want that minuscule, tiny little thing, I could do that for you, right? But if you want the blessings upon blessings, if you want the cattle upon a hill, I can give you that thing too, but you need to trust me. So because I need to trust God, that means I need to have a relationship, which means I need to be talking to him. I need to spend time with him. I need to prioritize him. And if I'm not doing that, then guess what? I could do the same thing I could do in this trust fall. I could lean back and bust my head wide open because God is there, right? He's there. But sometimes he's like, okay, you want the thing from me, but you don't want to trust me. I've told you that my plans are different than your plans. And that's for sure, y'all. If y'all don't know that, then I don't know what to tell you. Right? I've told you that I have you. I told you that I would never leave you or forsake you. But do you trust that or no? I was talking about the other day how a lot of times we're like, we're going to trust God with our whole thing and da 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 da. And my mom did this message years and years and years ago that is a fan favorite apparently about God being the pilot and not the co-pilot, right? And when you really sit and think about that thing, it makes so much sense because y'all, a pilot, right? A pilot, first of all, has to have, really good vision, which means I'm already out because I got these, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you're driving along in a car, so let's take it out of the plane because that's where people, obviously go. But let's put it in a car. If you're driving a car, right, you have to be looking in the rear view. You have to be looking in the side view. You have to be looking in front of you. All the things, right? You're doing all that, and you're moving your head and turning your eyes and doing all that. Imagine not having to do that. God sees all the things all the time. Doesn't have to move, flinch, bob, or any of the things. He sees it all. So when we're trying to go down a road and we want to try to find direction and we're trying to trust God in a season and we're doing all this, looking all around, looking up and down, trying to look inward, look up, but we're doing all the things, right? We're doing all of that. And all he has to do is sit and be, right? And that's what he's trying to get us to do, to sit and be, sit in his presence, talk to him, let him know what's going on. Let him know what work he has to do. Does he not already know? Yes, he knows, but he wants you to choose for him to be the pilot. But yet and still, so many of us are the passenger princess. Ooh, God, you're going kind of fast. Slow down. God, there's somebody coming up on your left-hand side. I don't know if you see it. He sees it, y'all. He sees it. God, there's a divot in the road right there. I don't want you to lose a hubcap. He knows. He knows. But we sit in a space where we can't just let go and let God have his way, right? And I'm not saying this as if it's an easy thing. I'm not saying it as if I've mastered it. I'm saying because it's my only choice. I don't have another choice. I do not have, I could choose the devil, but we know that ain't a choice. That ain't a choice. But when it's let go and let God have his way, it's literally saying, God, I don't understand. And this is, Lord have mercy. It's saying, I don't understand what is happening in the season. I don't like it. And he just says, I don't care if you like it. I just want to know if you trust me. I don't care if you don't understand it. I just need you to be obedient. Fall into me. Trust that I will catch you every time. And I know that it's so difficult. Why? Because we're trying to understand something that is spiritual with a natural mind. And we're trying to apply logic to something that has no logic attached to it. When God says he has you and he will never, never leave you or forsake you, that means at no point. It doesn't mean he's going to turn his head and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't catch that. He never has to turn his head away from you. And that's a person and a thing that is seeing all the things all the time. But we sit in a space where we're like, God, I don't know if I can trust you because I got let down before. God, I don't know if I can go into the church because them church folks, sometimey and, that one sits in my seat and this one sings off key and this one thinks they know everything. And this one made me feel like I came in with a short skirt and they made me feel like I was a hooker. And this one, did this, that, and the other thing. And because of that, I won't come and talk to you and I will not talk to church because those are your supposed people. And then look at how they treated me. I'm going to tell y'all right now, never, never, never look to people for godly anything because you're going to be disappointed. I'm not saying that there are not some people that have gotten to a place where their relationship with God reflects God, but it reflects God. It is not God. At the highest level, all we can hope to do is reflect God, to show up in God's love, right? That's what but we are not him. Stacy is definitely not Jesus the Christ. At no point will I ever think that I am that. However, I do know that I have authority to speak to a thing because God gave that to me. But I speak to the thing in his name, because my name don't have a forever stamp. His name does. So I'm going to trust him to work out the situation when I don't understand it. I'm going to trust that I can fall into him. Because as I fall into him, as I become weak, in my weakness, he's strong. I wrote down a couple of things because I'm not one of those people that will remember a scripture, and I want to attach these scriptures. So for those of you who are like, oh, she don't know scriptures like that, just continue to pray for me, okay? Continue to pray for me. That's not something God gave me, but he gave me some other things, and I'm gonna work with those too. All right. One of the things that we have to do is, so this scripture is Psalms 56:3, and it says, "When I'm afraid, I will trust in thee." Why is that important? Because guess what? Do it afraid. And I don't want, fear is not of the Lord, Sister Stacy, Minister Stacy. Fear is not of the Lord. Really? Thank you. I'm aware. But again, and I've said this before, and if you watch prior episodes, you've heard me speak about this. Fear is not of God, the constant state of fear. But the experience of fear, everybody has. Which is why he tells you all the times about do not be afraid. Do not be, because he knows, especially when the angels came, read your word, it's in there. When the angels came, first thing, do not be afraid. Why? Because angels don't look like what we think they look like. Read the word, it's in there. The descriptions of them, all the eyes and all the wings and all the things, they don't look like those little cherubims with a daggone arrow, Cupid's bow. So the fact of them, and if you read in the word, there's so many other times where he talks about fear because he knows it's going to be an experience, but he doesn't want us to live there. He doesn't want our decisions to be covered in fear. He doesn't want us to operate through the lens of fear, because we can give that to him, even our being afraid. And he can still work in us. He can still do a thing in us. He doesn't want us to be paralyzed by that thing. Yo, I almost forgot to drink my favorite thing because y'all have me just in here just talking. And I already put some honey in the container, so. Y'all. Oh, I forgot how much I missed this. I forgot. Oh. Again, for those of you who came in later, this is the tea. Revolution, Spanish, white, peach, and ginger. I need to purchase more of this because I think I only have one tea bag left, y'all. I think I only have one tea bag left. I need to get it. But the reality, y'all, is that we're in a season that is going to cause us and challenge us to do things differently than we've done them. Yes, you can continue to do them the same way you've been doing. How that been working out for you? Just let me know. Asking for a friend. The season that we're in, and I wrote this, it requires faith. And the funny thing about faith is people act like it's this thing that just, I'm just going to have faith. I'm just going to poof, and I have faith. Y'all, faith is something that comes from exercising relationship. Faith comes by, talking to God and having conversation with God, and then sometimes doing it afraid. But as you start to trust God, as you start to have faith, the act of faith then builds into a strengthened position where you trust God, right? I'm stepping out in faith because I don't know you like that, God, right? So when we all come to him, we don't know him like that, because even if we knew him through our parents, that's their faith. That ain't got nothing to do with us. So when we're first coming to God, we're like, okay, God, I done heard good things about you. I heard you're cool. I heard you show up for people. I don't know you like that, so I'm going to have faith. I'm going to do something without having any evidence. I'm going to step out on faith. And as I continue to do that, and you continue to show up, now I'm starting to trust you, because now we have a relationship, right? But faith and trust, people use them as synonymous, and I get it. But for me, I have to then have faith. I have to step out without having any evidence. But now, as my evidence starts to grow, I'm like, okay, I can trust you. You do show up for me. Now, you don't always say what I want you to say. You don't always, give me the blessings that as I want them, right? Because our timing is definitely also not your timing. But now I can walk in trust, right? So it's not so much of a situation that now I would not have a trust fall with you. I can have a trust fall with you because in faith I walked out and I stepped out on faith, and you didn't let me fall into despair. You didn't let those things and people that sought to minimize and hurt me destroy my heart, right? You didn't allow for those things, but instead you came in and allowed my heart to continue to beat. You came into my mind and told me that peace was my portion. You came in and told me that I was your very own. So in the times when I felt like I had no one to rely on, you told me that I was your child. You embraced me with a love that I never experienced in my lifetime. So in those moments when you're just stepping out on faith and your faith continues to be exercised and you continue to let that thing be worked a little bit, now you're entering a season of trust. So yes, I can fall back into your arms. Why? Because you've established a history. And I believe Cheryl mentioned that earlier. You've established a history. Now, because I have history with you, we're good to go. This goes back to the thing I mentioned earlier. I don't know y'all like that. I work with y'all. I know of you. I don't know your favorite color. Don't know your middle name. Don't know if you have any allergies. I don't know any of that. I don't know the real stuff that makes you tick. I don't know what you're afraid of. I don't know the things that you've done that you're not proud of. I don't know any of that. But in a season where God is doing a thing in me, he sees all that stuff. He sees all that stuff and he still chooses me. I see all that stuff and I'm like, that's how we do. I don't know if I would mess with that person, but God sees us in the mess of the mess of the mess and still sees and ordains a message in us, a testimony in us. He looks into the mess and already builds and conceives and orchestrates and designs and knits this message, this testimony that can be used further into the future, where you're going to be able to talk to people and tell them about God's glory and God's mercy and God's grace. All of that is now interwoven. Why? Because you just sat in a space and said, I'm going to have faith. And then because now I had faith and I see who you are and I know what you can do and I know the ways you've made out of no way for me, I trust you. So I'm going to fall into your arms because you told me that you have to have my back. That's your word, not mine. You said you would never leave me or forsake me. And you also said that you're not a man that you would lie. So if something goes on shaky in here, God, that's not a me thing. That's a you thing, right? Because I've trusted you. I've laid my situations at your feet. I've laid my conditions at your feet. I've laid my shortcomings at your feet. And you've told me, in spite of that, I'm your very own. Right? So you know that trust fall I was talking about, right? Where you're supposed to cross your hands and just fall back. I can do that. May it still be scary? Absolutely, it may still be scary. Even though you have relationship. I have a relationship with my family, but I'm not about to do a trust fall with them. Everybody got, different things going on. Somebody might get distracted. The phone might ring. And I'm like, oh, well, there we go. Now we got to go and do a copay. Right? So the fact of the matter is, it's really about sitting in this season and recognizing that so often we ask God for a thing. So often we check in there, but we don't plan him in from the beginning. Sometimes we use him as a contingency plan. Right? I've tried everything and everything has failed. Now I'm gonna try him. He's the elemental P. He might be the XYZ. I don't know, right? Y'all might go all the way through the daggone alphabet, 22 letters in, and then you're like, okay, let me XYZ the Lord in. Let me tap him in. Let me tag him in. Lord, I can't do it no more. I'm tired. They done beat me up. And God's like, well, I actually was prepared at A. I mean, technically, I wanted you to go through B. I wanted you to get through a little bit of a season on your own, and I was ready, but you never tagged me in. Why are you getting beat up on purpose? Y'all like getting whooped? Y'all like getting beat up? When you could go to the person who you can trust and fall into him on a regular basis, knowing that he's going to catch you. Um, there was this thing that I did way. I don't remember how many years ago now. I don't know if anybody's ever been parasailing, right? But I decided, we were on vacation, and I decided I'm going. I've always wanted to go. I'm going to do this. And y'all, I am not like a risk taker type of a chick. I know people, I do, I mean, I haven't done it in years, but I do enjoy roller coasters. But that's about the extent. I'm not the type of chick that's jumping out of a plane. Why? Did something happen to it? Because if it functions, why am I jumping out of it? I'm not doing that. That's not my thing, right? But I was like, I love this. I love it. It's attached to a rope. It's, you leave from a boat. I'm going to do this. I'm excited. Right? So first of all, the first problem was this. This was the first problem. I got on that boat, and that boat daggone gave me whiplash. When I say there was a speedboat from hell that was literally skimming the surface of the water. Why we had to get there that fast, I will never know. But I literally was holding on to the side of that boat and praying, sweet Jesus, can I just make it, or let me get off while we're at the shoreline so I can go back and forget this whole thing ever happened. Needless to say, I made it to the exchange boat. But again, let's go back to the fact that I'm plus size. All these other people that are trying to come on here are Twig and Twigette, and maybe somebody that might have been the size of a 2x4, right? Legit tiny humans. And I was like, I'm looking around like, so I remember asking the person, how much weight does this thing hold? Because what you're not finna do is have me be embarrassed trying to get on this thing and the thing snaps because it can't hold my weight, right? So he's like, ma'am, you're fine, whatever. And I was like, okay, because, and I remember saying, my sister's on the shoreline watching y'all, so y'all better not do anything. Y'all better make sure that I make it safe through this whole process. So finally, they attach me. Now, mind you, I've seen, I think 2 other people went before me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And they looked like they were having a blast. By the time they attached me, y'all, my heart was beating so hard. I was like, should I back out? Now, mind you, I've already paid. But at this point, I was like, sometimes you just take an L. Sometimes you just do that, right? But no, I was like, I want to do this. So they start to do it. And then it's like a crank that is cranking you out initially. And then the silk of the sail gets expanded by the air or whatever, and you go up, right? Y'all, when I say I was holding onto those ropes for dear life, and I think that I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't already have the anxiety of them flying me through the air, well, flying me through the water to get there. But by the time that I got onto the thing, I was holding on so tight that, y'all, I had like rope burn on my arms because I was petrified. Now, mind you, I'm looking out, and and once I finally got up there, it was so beautiful. But you think I was letting go of them ropes? Why? Because I don't trust you people. You've already established to me that I cannot trust that you're going to do things that make sense. You might do things that are okay, but I don't know that you're going to do things that make sense. So I got through the experience. It was lovely. However, when you're able to go into a situation where you're going and you don't understand, or you may not understand the fullness of the situation or how things are going to pan out, at no point when you're giving your trust in God do you have to hold on with that grip. You don't have to hold on like that. You don't have to hold on because you're afraid that if you let go and let God do what he does, that it's not going to happen. You don't have to hold on that tight because you think that if you don't hold on to God that tight, that or the situation, not God, hold on to God that tight. But if you don't hold on to the situation that tight, that something's going to happen. If you don't hold on to the situation that tight, then something's not going to move forward in the way that it needs to. But what you need to do is at that point, you get up there and you let go. There were some people that were just up there floating and letting the air go by them. Their arms were out their side, right? I was not that person. This was me, right? Even in the pictures, I was laughing because I'm laughing in the pictures, but I'm holding on like this, right? You don't have to do that with God. When it says let go and let God have his way, it's literally putting your arms out and saying, God, have your way. If you think about this was a symbol of the cross. He had his arms out like this, right? And he let God, his Father, his Heavenly Father, Jesus let his Heavenly Father have his way. Not my will, but yours be done. He said, let you have your way. Even in that situation, Jesus had to say, God, have your way. Right? So the reality of it is that's the same plan. He gave us the tools. He gave us the tricks. He gave us the understanding. If you want God to do a thing, that you have to let go. You have to trust him. You have to fall into him. And I know that it's not easy. And I know sometimes you don't want to do it. Believe me, I get it. But we have to know that he has us. He does not want us to fail. He wants us to win. He wants to be able to say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. He wants that for us. But we have to do it afraid if it takes that. We have to do it tentative if it takes that. But at the end of the day, remember those tentative steps, those faith steps, those are steps where we're learning who God is. And now that you know who he is, run in that direction because he's established trust. And we can fall into him because we trust him. Trust him with the outcome. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but trust him with the outcome. Know that he already sees the outcome. He already sees you functioning in purpose. He already sees you bringing people to him. He already sees you declaring your testimony. He already sees you talking to people, strangers, about the way that God brought you through and sharing with people that don't know him or people that have been through a season of doubt or people that have been through a season where they don't want to trust a thing or people that have been through a season where they've been so hurt that the idea of trusting anything, whether it be God or man, is something that is unbelievable to their mind. And you're sharing with those people, this is my spiritual resume. This is how I got spiritually fit. This is how I made it through when I was having a season of doubt. When I was having a season where I didn't feel like anybody cared about me. God came down in that season and let me know that I was his own. He told me I'm an heir. Me that had a messed up life, me that thought wrong, me that made some really bad choices, me that may have denied who he was or that he existed at all. It's never too late with God. But you have to trust him. And in order to trust him and fall into him and have that trust fall where you just lay your arms out and fall back into him, that means you have to start with your faith walk, which means practicing in areas where you can't see. Y'all, you've tried it in a million different ways already and it hasn't worked. If you tried everything and everything has failed, try Jesus, right? I'm going to need you to try him first, though, because the other way is long. It's long, it's involved, it's exhausting, and it's unnecessary. If you want the key to being able to move forward with knowing that somebody loves you, with knowing that somebody has your back, with knowing that somebody's championing you, knowing that somebody is your cheerleader, knowing that somebody will also hold you accountable, but knowing that this person will always love on you with a love that you can't even describe. Trust him and fall into him. All right, that is what God told me to share. And with that, I am concluded. So hopefully this blessed somebody. This was a blessing to me because, again, this is the season. The season requires for us to fall into him. I'm just going to say this is a different season. And if you haven't felt it yet, hopefully you are feeling it little by little. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. And please extend to yourself first. And then to me, I need it too. Your girl, A Measure of Grace. Have a blessed rest of your day. I will see you next week on episode 24, season 2 of Sipping Tea with Stacey T. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.